The entire Parliament is conducting their midterm review in Naivasha starting today until Friday. And therefore, we have committed to look for the earliest opportunity next week where we can convene. See whether we can convene a meeting next week to discuss the rollout of the universal health coverage that are involving both of us, especially in where we have to coalesce and stabilize, and that is good for the economy. You have seen just 2 days ago big fundamentals, namely a foreign exchange rate, inflation. The inflation now is and that has huge implications on livelihoods, and if those commodities in our rural areas is going to be better. So with stability around the Kenya Kwanza plan, which is now benefiting from the CS Mbandi is here, is quite clear with the agenda for making sure that we don't jobs to the highest number of Kenyans are situated. What are these sectors? And this calls for joint effort from both levels of government in support infrastructure, but also in last mile connectivity and the establishment of ICT hubs. This support infrastructure also includes the establishment and operationalization of county aggregation and industrial parks, manufacturing. These are some of the infrastructure that will support the revitalization of the value chains in agriculture, livestock, locally in the economy, but also creating digital jobs, as well as providing and so forth and so on, are getting they're getting stimulated in terms of growth of that sector. So that again is another pillar. That is number 5. The last health insurance scheme today that serves them are the vestiges of Obamacare until today. Families have become poor because of too much expenditure out of pocket on health bills. Have a not very perfect system of medical insurance than no insurance at all. So today, for example, Obamacare is insuring everybody. The only challenge is that those of us who earn a little more are sacrificed, and then those who are paying, those who are party, who is the alternate chair, the meeting, because it's a statutory meeting and we are behind schedule in so many things. So I bless you. Thank you.
That are in arrears. There is about 15 billion for 23 counties relating to the month. In a sense, it concerns us because it affects the division of revenue. Debt management has always been a concern for counties because of the fact that debt. Division of revenue. We're hoping that this year we'll have a less contentious process of agreeing on the division of revenue. And also, we're hoping that this year that will depend on the efficiency and effectiveness of that process that we have in agreeing on the DORA and how fast we can complete that. Your Excellency, the element to be passed, we have discussed the background and the issue of the road maintenance levy fund, funds, because as you realize, we are now at the end of January. And that's we're talking of substantial amount of funding for development in the counties. So we to do with substantive agenda in terms of CAIPs that day. On issues to do with the unbundling completion of them.
Number 3, matters arising. Then we'll have Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry presentation. Yeah, I think that is it. Yes. So could we adopt the agenda for discussion? Proposer?
I think having listened to the...
Your Excellency, my remarks will be very brief. I don't want to go into the details of the agenda presentations that we will make. And I associate with a lot of the comments that you have made. For the few empty chairs that you see, Your Excellency, we'll get used to the new timings. Very quickly on a couple of items. On disbursements, as you have mentioned, we have 2 tranches of disbursements that are in arrears. There is about 15 billion for 23 counties relating to the month of December, and 33 billion thereabout for all the 47 counties relating to the month of January. I'm hoping that the CS Treasury will discuss that. On the budget policy statement, we have a detailed report which we will discuss. We are in support of the accrual system, but we will make our contribution on the substantive agenda. On the medium-term debt management strategy, we may not have a lot of input, but in a sense it concerns us because it affects the division of revenue. Debt management has always been a concern for counties because of the fact that debt is a first charge on the revenues that are to be shared. So it affects us, but we don't have a lot of say in it. We will want to hear Treasury strategy. On division of revenue, we're hoping that this year we'll have a less contentious process of agreeing on the division of revenue. And also, we're hoping that this year, the coming year, 25-26, we will be able to agree on the division of revenue and have the County Allocation of Revenue Act passed by 31st of May so that counties have time to also make their budgets by the end of June. That's what the law actually requires of us. And this ongoing year, you've seen the problems you've had. Of course, some of them were extraneous in the sense that they were unexpected. But we also are looking forward to the counties sharing in the benefits of the economy that is now looking up, Your Excellency, as you have told us. On County Allocation of Revenue Act, that will depend on the efficiency and effectiveness of that process that we have in agreeing on the DORA and how fast we can complete that. Your Excellency, the element in the room for the governors today really is the County Government's Additional Allocation Act for the year 24-25, which is yet to be passed. We have discussed the background and the issue of the road maintenance levy fund. We have proposals on the same, especially on the portion that does not relate to national government exchequer funds, the portion that relates to donor funds, because as you realize, we are now at the end of January. Starting February, Parliament is in recess. By the time, and the mediations had collapsed, so by the time they get back and Senate and the National Assembly agree on a mediated position, hopefully, there might not be much time to really implement those projects, and that's, we're talking of substantial amount of funding for development in the counties. So we're hoping that this meeting will agree on a way forward on that. There are matters to do with substantive agenda in terms of KIPES. We'll wait for the minister to present his position, and we will give our rejoinder based on the facts on the ground and based on the discussion that we had the other day. On issues to do with the unbundling, completion of the unbundling, I think we take notice of the Gazette notice that transferred functions, but we'll be discussing the funding for the same in the coming financial year as we agree on the division of revenue. Your Excellency, there are a couple of other resolutions of Ibec that had not been implemented. Issues to do with county headquarters for 5 counties. It's part of our agenda. There are MLF that I've actually talked of. Transfer of museum funds. The issue of fines and court fines for some of the counties. The matter of mineral royalties for counties that have earned but have not received the same. Shortfall in the funding of the Community Health Promoters Program. And again, underfunding of CAIPS vis-a-vis the status of completion. Last but not least, the recent storm that was raised by the issue of bursaries is also part of our agenda, because there are actually counties that have tried to disburse and have not been able to as a result of that circular. So we hope that we'll also have an agreement on that, which unlocks the funding for bursaries so that kids can go back to school. With those remarks, Your Excellency, I thank you all